there's a real distinct confidence that Jon Jones is either not going to be the same Jon Jones or Ciryl Gane really is that good. Because if Jon Jones comes out, who is the Jon Jones that we know he used to be, he destroys Ciryl Gane. But we don't know that. That's the whole thing. We don't know that, and that's what makes this a really intriguing fight to me. Look who's solo today, ladies and gentlemen. UFC 285, the return of Johnny Boney Joni. You like my nickname? Quan don't have a microphone today, so it's just me. I don't have my partner in crime with me today, so I will be absolving all 3 minutes of every fight outside of the main event. There's a lot of back history behind the return of Jon Jones. Everybody's waiting for this. Everyone's been waiting for this. There's a lot to unpack. Unfortunately, I am on a time constraint unpacking this for this show. So if you really want the full detailed content of my looks on this, my reads on this, my advice on how to approach this and how to attack this card, especially this main event, you go to the MadLabMMA.com. We are running an amazing special this week that Quan is going to throw up on the show, on the site. We're going $19.99 for the first month, and if you guys don't know the cards that are coming out, this, I mean, it's insane. We have some great cards coming out. The UFC is actually running with UFC pay-per-view events almost every other card for the next, 5 weeks. It's pretty insane. So you're going to be getting Jones versus Gane. You're going to be getting Jan versus Davishvili. You're going to be getting Edwards and Usman 3. You're going to be getting Vera and Sandhagen in this package for $19.99. You're getting full breakdowns. You're getting DFS. You're getting wagering. You're getting full fighter metrics. You're getting a private podcast. You're getting a live stream before the fight, private Discord. You're getting all that for your first month at $19.99. And to top it all off, you'll be entered in a contest where we're going to be throwing a contest in DraftKings to win a signed Conor McGregor UFC glove. So great incentive for you guys to come in. You're getting a boatload of content, great content, a great community. That's really what this is about. We have an unbelievable community in the Discord. We're all watching the fights together. We're having a great time. So definitely take advantage of this promo. I believe the promo is called Spring Fever. But like I said, the image will be up for you guys to view. Before we get into this, please like the channel, subscribe to the channel, comment below. Do you like where I'm leaning with these fights? Do you not like where I'm leaning to these fights? Do you think I'm an asshole? Do you think I'm a good guy? Anything you want to type, we most likely will answer. Trying to grow the channel, trying to grow the show. This is a new show, so definitely hop in. Anyone who's into combat sports, UFC, boxing, we also do boxing. Definitely hop in, send them the link, get the train going for us over here. So before we get to this fight, we got a couple things we got to touch on. The fight, did you watch? You didn't watch the fight. You're not even mic'd up, right? No. All right, so we had the Jake Paul and Tommy Fury fight this weekend. I got to be honest with you, dude. It was entertaining. It was an entertaining fight. How did he look? He looked okay. Listen, here's the thing. I told you guys on Twitter. I mean, I couldn't do anything, else to make you guys avoid this fight. To not wager on this fight. Just enjoy the fight. You got these analysts and stuff that are coming out saying, take this way, take that way. It's not a fight that you would ever bet. It's not a fight that it's a spectacle. It's a circus. You have fun watching it. But I got to be honest with you, it doesn't matter how he looked as far as his boxing prowess. We know he's not a good boxer. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, to go 8 rounds at that pace, he trained for it. He trained for it. He went at a pretty hard pace. They both went at a pretty hard pace. The knockdown at the end of the fight, Tommy Fury got knocked down. It was a knockdown because technically any part of your body outside of your knees outside of your feet that hit the canvas is considered a knockdown. But he technically did trip. His knees didn't even hit the ground. He kind of caught himself with his glove. It was like a momentum shift. It wasn't to me, clean knockdown, but it was because technically his glove hit the ground. This is the crazy thing. The conspiracy theorists out there thought that, the fight was fixed because the ref was horrible and they thought that Jake Paul won the fight. If anybody scored that fight for Jake Paul to win the fight, you either have no idea what boxing is about, you don't know how to score fights, or you had a lot of money on Jake Paul. There was no way you could possibly score that fight for Jake Paul. It's not even possible. What did you say about Sean Porter? Oh, Sean Porter, I know he's not watching this show, but I lost all respect for him, bro. I literally lost all respect for him. Selling after the fight was over. This guy was selling when the fight was over. So, I had a lot of respect for Sean Porter. I'm big, me and Bush are big into boxing. We've been following these guys like Sean Porter and stuff for a very long time. He has come out now and he's an analyst, and he's actually a decent analyst. But for this fight, it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, he had this fight even, which was crazy because myself, anybody who I know that know boxing, we were texting each other, Louis DeBella, like really big names of the sport on Twitter. Nobody had it even close for Jake Paul. The rounds might have been a little close, but just because you have a close round, somebody's got to win that round, somebody's got to lose that round. I do agree that the ref was terrible. Bro, the ref was terrible. He was taking points like he was taking candy from a candy store. He was making it about him, which was ridiculous, but by no means was that fight fixed in any way, shape, or form. There was no conspiracy involved. They had that sheet coming out. Did you see the script coming out that people were actually believing? This is how bad conspiracy theories are getting now. This is how bad it's getting.
Very uneducated country.
It's amazing. It seems like every time a fighter loses, a team loses, there's got to be some kind of angle. Why this didn't have this line, why this team did this, why the ref didn't do this. Like, guys, get over it. Yes, there are hands in sports. There are games and fights that are fixed. There is money being handed down here and there. But not everything is fixed. Not everything's a work. That was not a work. If you know fighting and you know boxing, these guys came and they fought. Whether they were good or not, that's for you to judge. But they fought. These guys came in and they gave it their all and they fought. And it was an entertaining fight. That fight was by no stretch fixed in any way, shape, or form. So, anyway. No, I don't. I hope the spectacle's over because for somebody who's a boxing purist, it's insulting to keep seeing this. I mean, even Mayweather. Mayweather fought that day. Nobody even knew it. Nobody even knew it. You know what I mean? Because he's doing the same thing. He's fighting these B-level guys, and I don't like it. Like, I just don't like what it's doing for boxing. You got a fight in Garcia and Tank Davis coming up. That's a fight. You got David Benavidez waiting in the wings. That's a fight. These are fights. This is like, it's turning into WWE, and I don't like it. I respect Jake Paul for what he's doing, what he's trying to do with boxing, with fighter pay and stuff like that. I respect him for coming up and training his ass off, which he did to go 8 rounds, guys. Whether you like him or hate him or love him, the kid trained for this fight. Tommy Fury. Everybody was coming in saying, "Oh, Tommy Fury's, his brother." It's not his real brother; it's his half brother. He changed his name to Fury, So like it's just all these people coming out. You could see how uneducated they are with boxing, but because it's a celebrity thing, they're watching it. But it was entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, it was entertaining. I wouldn't have sit there like I wouldn't pay to watch it again. But I was curious, so I did watch it, and I was entertained by it. So anyway, 285, very, very big card. We got a lot to unpack here. Like I said, I'm on a time constraint, so if you guys want my full breakdowns and my full leans and my reasonings on why, the MadLabMMA.com, we got that huge special going on, $19.99, be entered to win the Conor McGregor glove, and that's not $19.99 for the past, that's $19.99 for the month. So, I mean, it's great, great value. We're having a great time over there. We're up units on the year. And everybody seems to be having a good time. I am going to go in reverse order on this card. I'm going to save the main event for last. I think we did that last week too as well. So we got Bo Nickal and Jamie Pickett. I'm not going to talk about much on this card. I might on this fight. I probably won't even use the whole 3 minutes. So you got Bo Nickal at minus 1,400. You got Jamie Pickett at plus 850. You have him coming back on DraftKings at 9,600, 6,600. Now, guys, we all know who Bo Nickal is. We all know what the UFC is trying to. This is a power move by the UFC's part. This is a kid who is a very high pedigree wrestler, very, very high pedigree. And the UFC wants to push this kid. And they don't want to push him hard, but they want to push him. They know they have something here with this kid. It's not every day where you have a wrestler with his credentials. I mean, yeah, we got the Henry Cejudos and stuff like that, but this is a kid who can be special. But they also do know the hierarchy, the guys who are sitting at the table making the fights, they know, listen, this is one element of fight. The wrestling end of it is one element of fight. There's nobody in that division. There's not many people in the UFC that's going to be able to hang with this kid with his credentials in wrestling. We all know that. They all know that. Anyone who follows the wrestling circuit knows that. He is that high pedigree when it comes to wrestling. However, mixed martial arts is exactly what it is. There's striking involved. There's submissions involved. There's a lot of things involved that it's just not culminated to wrestling. So they need to walk him. And in order to walk him, they need to put him in some spots. They need him to put him in some bright spots, get him used to the cameras, get him used to the crowd, get him used to the media, get him used to a couple fighters where he can kind of expose. And that's exactly what this is. Jamie Pickett is not a good fighter. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Do I respect every fighter who fights? 1,000%. But this fight is tailor-made for Bo Nickal to win. If Bo Nickal wins, this will be an loses. This will be an epic disaster on the UFC's part. It would be either Bo Nickal completely choked, Bo Nickal got hurt, or Bo Nickal got caught by something nuts, which is possible. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to fight the fight, and anything can happen. However, when you're looking at the body of work of Jamie Pickett, this is a guy who just can be exposed on the ground. Does he have decent striking? Yeah, he's decent. Is he game? Does he always come to fight? Yes. Would I like to see him put some friction on Bo Nickal to maybe see, like, let's see what happens if he can keep it standing, or if he keeps his range and he keeps his distance, he's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage where maybe he, the larger cage they're dealing with, also maybe he can keep a little space and ping him up a little bit and maybe test his chin before Bo Nickal goes and grounds him. I just don't see it happening. You're looking at a guy, Jamie Pickett, who's had a 60% takedown defense, which when you look at that, you're like, it's not terrible, but it's not good. And you're going against a monster wrestler who's going to take that 60%. He's going to crumple in the ball, and he's going to throw it to the side. So, there's really not much to talk about on this fight. Shut that off. There's really not much to talk about on this fight, but I will say, from a wagering perspective, you stay away from it. There's no reason to go near it. I mean, what are you going to do? Minus 1,400? It doesn't even make sense. If you're looking for some props, then you can go that way. I wouldn't even tie it into a parlay. It's not really going to move the needle any much. When it comes to a DraftKings perspective, I could see him finishing this fight in the first round. You're going to have to expect him to be really, really highly owned at 9,600 because he's kind of the guy who everybody's kind of looking at right now to see what he's going to do. People are expecting him to win this in the first round. They know it's a tailor-made fight for him. So I don't mind it. But there is other value on the card. So just keep that in mind. As far as Jamie Pickett, like I said, you are throwing $1 in a river in an ocean and then going to jump in and get it if you think he's going to win this fight. So the 6,600 to me would probably be a no play. Next fight we're on, Jalin Turner versus Gamrot. Now, this is an interesting fight because a lot of people are very high on Jalin Turner. I do like Jalin Turner. I think he's a talented fighter. The thing with Jalin Turner is everybody has this thing where they just jump on these fighters so quick. They just jump on them. So now you got the media, you got MMA Twitter, you got all these people jumping on Jalin Turner like he's the next big thing. When you look at his record, did he fight some good guys? He absolutely fought some good guys. He fought, Rydell, Malarkey, Medic. These are good guys. Good guys. They're not really great guys. You know what I mean? So, like, to label this guy as this next big thing in a division and this future champ. How many times have we seen people do this? They do it often. I mean, to be quite honest with you, they do it often and then they're disappointed. 80% of the time they're disappointed. When people come out and they look at him, they're like, he's a big dude. He's 6'3", 77-inch reach. He's also a southpaw. His grappling is getting better. I get all that. But at the end of the day, before you jump hard on somebody, you need to know who he is. And you don't know who he is until he really, really starts facing that higher echelon of competition. There's also matchups involved in this. And even though people are looking at this fight and wondering, why is Gamrot favorite coming in on a late notice here? Because this is a terrible matchup for Jalin Turner. That's exactly what this is. And I know a lot of people are picking him, and that's fine. You want to pick Jalin Turner? I totally understand. I can make justifications on why he should win this fight. But the reason why I'm Gamrot here is because this is a guy who it's just a very bad matchup for him. He's going to be relentless. Jalin Turner was not training for this style of fight. Okay, now he's got a guy who's going to constantly be on his hips, constantly putting the pace on, has good cardio. He's not going to let up on him. He's just going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing the pace. And if Jalin Turner can't keep that space and if Jalin Turner can't start opening up on him, I just don't see where he wins this fight. I don't see where he keeps Gamrot off him. The only way he's going to keep Gamrot off him is if Gamrot takes a sloppy shot or Gamrot takes a shot. It doesn't have to be sloppy. He catches him with a knee or he catches him with something coming down the middle, which he's very crafty in doing. Maybe if he with those long limbs, he sucks up a guillotine on the way down, very high, low percentage chess move. We've seen a lot of people go for jumping guillotines and stuff like that, and they don't get them. So, to me, it's just a bad matchup. And I understand a lot of people are high on Turner. I think he's a good fighter. I still think he has a lot to prove. And if you look at the line, even though Gamrot's coming out late notice on this, he's minus 170. The comeback on Turner is plus 145. I don't mind that. I don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger on it. I really, really don't mind it at this point. If you look at the price tag in DraftKings, you got 8,600. You got Jalin Turner at 7,600. There is value on Turner there. I'm not going to lie, because it's not like he's a Jamie Pickett where he doesn't have he's very, very good chance to win this fight. At 8,600 for Gamrot, I don't mind that either. Like I said, there's a lot of value on this board. But my pick here is Gamrot. I'm going to go Gamrot by decision. I just think that the pace, I think Turner's not going to be able to get this guy off his hips. And I think once Gamrot gets him to the ground, he's going to be able to control him there later. I think that Turner's going to be able to get back to his feet early. But I think as the grind keeps going, I think Gamrot's just going to start pulling away. So I'm going to go Gamrot here by decision. All right, next fight, we have Geoff Neal versus Rakhmonov. This is an interesting fight. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally transparent with you. I wasn't super, super high on Rakhmonov when he was first coming in. There was something about him that I just felt like I needed to see a little bit more. And usually when I see records like his, like right now, he's 16-0, 8 KOs, 8 submissions. Obviously, he's got 4 fights in the UFC right now, all by finish. But when I first saw him come in, I was like, I need to see more. I need him to see against these upper echelon guys, even if it's the lower level. You're still in the UFC and you're fighting these upper echelon guys. He's making a believer out of me, and he's making me a believer out of me in every fight. I mean, he beat Oliveira, Pereira, Harris, and Magny all inside the distance. This is a kid who can do it everywhere. He's big, he's strong, he's got grappling, he seems to have pretty good cage IQ. They seem like they're walking him the right way. Maybe if they might not even be meaning to do it, but they are. The way they're leveling this kid's competition up is very strategic and very good. And I'm not saying it's tailor-made for him, because he's fighting guys that are tough. Some of them are very awkward. Some of them, like Magny, have that gas tank. Pereira's is a small, trucky guy. Charles Oliveira, always tough. So they're putting him against these tough dudes, with multitude of different disciplines, and he is passing the test. So this dude is making me a believer very, very quick. A guy like Geoff Neal, I have a ton of respect for him. He's got some really good wins, and he's got some really, tough losses. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. He beat Luque, he beat Ponzinibbio, he lost to Magny, lost to Wonderboy Thompson, beat Mike Perry. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, and the way I look at fighters, it's not so much your wins and losses in the UFC. It's who did you lose to. If you're losing to all scrubs, I mean, if you're beating all scrubs and then you're losing to your next level up, like staircase number 2, you can't get past staircase number 2. I kind of see you're capped. But this is a guy who 2-fight win streak, Luque and Ponzinibbio, very good competition. Before that, Magny and Thompson. That way, you're like, okay, so you kind of even that out a little bit. Yeah, he lost to those 2 guys, but he beat these 2 guys. It's not like he's fighting these scrubs, and he's beating those guys, and then he's jumping up and he's fighting the Thompsons, the Magnys, the Ponzinibbios, and Luques, and he's losing to all of them. He's beating some of them. So the guy is a good fighter, but he seems very vanilla to me. He seems very telegraphed. He seems very vanilla to me. There's nothing really special about his game. Is he tough? Yes. Is he athletic? Yes. But there's nothing about Geoff Neal's game that screams to me like a future champion, or he's got this huge high ceiling. That's the thing with him. Like, when I look at a fighter, I need to see that high ceiling. I need to see a ceiling where maybe I can't see. I don't know how good he is. I don't know how good, the grappling is. I don't see that with Geoff Neal. I see that with Rakhmonov. When you look at the line here, minus 500, plus 400, I think if you're going to tie that into a parlay, I do think it's a little dangerous. I don't like that price tag at all. I do think Geoff Neal is dangerous. I think he's getting a little disrespected in this spot. But I do like Rakhmonov here. When you're looking at the lines as far as DraftKings, you're looking at Rakhmonov 9,200, Geoff Neal 7,000. You got to kind of go with the narrative a little bit. This guy's got 8 KOs and 8 submissions, so the upside for him to finish is there, without a doubt. But there is some value on Geoff Neal as a borderline pump play. I do think Rakhmonov win this fight. I do think he wins inside the distance. But like I said, I think there's both sides on the value of the ball. As far as the parlay piece at minus 500, I would just be careful with that. Like I understand Rakhmonov is a very hot commodity right now. I'm kind of buying into him a little bit, but that minus 500 is a little bit high for my liking, but I am picking him to win the fight. Okay, co-main event of the evening. Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso. Now, those of you guys have been following me for a while. You know I'm big into the Mexican pride thing, because, boxing was really my first love. So, you got these Mexican pride fighters. That's why I love Iurato and stuff like that. I wasn't sold on Grasso. This is another fighter I really, really wasn't sold on, out of the gate. And she kind of turned my tide a little bit. And I'm starting to buy into her a little bit. However, this is a really big step up in competition for her. I mean, if you look at her, she lost to Esparza, she beat Kim, she beat Barber, she beat Wood, she beat Araujo. She beat decent fighters. I wouldn't even say they're good. I would say they're decent. Now you're expecting her, because she's on a 4-fight win streak, but probably, her best win would be Araujo. Her last fight, I wouldn't consider Barber some killer or some great prospect. She's good. But, now you're expecting her, she's not taking a level of step 2. She's going all the way to the pinnacle, all the way to the top to fight Valentina Shevchenko, who has beaten everybody. The thing with Valentina's fight, and a lot of people are kind of saying Grasso has a shot here, this and that. She does, because her boxing is tough and she's gritty and she's tough. But when you look at Valentina, you look at a woman who's been dominating MMA, women's MMA, outside of Amanda Nunes. That's the only hump she couldn't get over, almost like Cormier couldn't get over the Jon Jones hump. This is a woman who's only main evented in one spot in her career. Think about that. And it was against Amanda Nunes, which made her the B-side. Okay, so this is a girl who doesn't get the respect. This is a girl who fought, who asked to be on this card, because she knows that Jon Jones is back. She knows that it's going to get a lot of eyes on the card. She requested her own poster, which she did get. This is a spot where I think she's coming in and she's going to get her respect. That's what I honestly believe. There's spots where Valentina Shevchenko comes in and she fights like a maniac, and then there's time where we're sitting in our chairs where it's like, where is she? Did she even get off the bus? Did she come out of the locker room for this fight? And she'll win, but she'll do just enough to win. This is a spot where I think Shevchenko's coming in for her respect. I think she feels disrespected by the fans. I think she feels a little disrespected by the UFC. I think she understands she can't be champion forever. This is a woman with 9 title defenses. I mean, that's unheard of. And she still can't main event. She can't get a main event spot once in her career, and when she was a B-side against Amanda Nunes. I personally think she's coming out to make a point. She's going to come out for blood, and I do think that she's going to end up possibly finishing Alexa Grasso, but I think it might be I think you might see a spot where you look at Grasso in the first round, maybe second round, she looks good, but I think as the fight starts to dwindle down, I think Valentina is just going to be too much for her. The striking, the grappling, this is a fight that she's coming in to prove a point. I think she's going to really go for the finish in this fight, and I think she should get it. I hope she gets it, because this is a woman who does not get the respect that she deserves in any way, shape, or form for being one of the best female martial artists that we've ever seen. If you look at the fight, minus 600, Shevchenko, Alexis Grasso plus 450. I'm confident in her, but I don't like laying that kind of wood. I would rather see you put the parlay piece of Valentina Shevchenko, if you're going to do that, rather than Rakhmonov. I think she's a safer play. If you're looking at the DraftKings end of it, you got Valentina 9,400, Grasso 6,800. You have 5 rounds in this, so you're getting a fight and a half. If she wins this fight, she has no issues covering. If Grasso wins this fight, you're optimal. So I'm not saying that Grasso's going to get worked. I'm not saying that she has a great chance here. But she's much better than 6,800. That I will tell you. She's much liver than her 6,800 price tag shows. But I got Valentina. I'm going to go Valentina. I'll say Valentina by decision, but it would not shock me if she finishes this fight. Main event time, boys and girls. Main event time. This one is going 5. Jon Jones, Ciryl Gane. Now, I'm just going to let you guys, I'm going to premise this off by saying this. Please don't believe this guy. I've been saying this for years and years and years about this guy. Do not believe a word that comes out of this guy's mouth. Jon Jones is one of the biggest bullshitters on the face of the planet. Jon Jones is not a good person. No matter if Jon Jones comes out and he praises Jesus and he does everything he does and he helps an old woman across the street, this is all things he's doing on camera. Jon Jones did not change. Jon Jones did not find peace within himself. That's not Jon Jones. Did Jon Jones maybe get older, wiser, and smarter? Yeah. But the fact of the matter is Jon Jones is who Jon Jones is. But that doesn't matter, because when he walks into the cage, whatever that guy has done in his career, in his life outside of the cage, means this. It matters what happens, what he does inside the cage. This is a guy who, pound for pound, is one of the greatest fighters of all time. However, there is an asterisk by his record in a few situations for me. Okay, would we be talking like this about Jon Jones if the judges got a couple of his fights right? He lost that fight to Gustafsson. I don't care what anyone says, that fight, I've watched that numerous times. I continue to score that fight for Gustafsson. So I think he lost there. I think he lost to Dominic Reyes. Even though Dominic Reyes is not nothing. They fight 10 times again. Jon Jones beats him 10 times. But on that night, he deserved that win. Okay, so I do believe he has another L there. There's also an argument to be said the Thiago Santos fight. This is a guy, Jon Jones, who hasn't fought in 3-4 years, who has not really looked good in his past couple fights. This is a guy, Jon Jones, who in his last 4 fights has a 26% takedown average, which isn't that good. He's getting older. He didn't look good in his last couple fights, and now he's bumping up to heavyweight. And he's taken on a guy in Ciryl Gane who, in my guesstimation, he's going to be faster than him. He's going to be stronger than him. And don't say, oh, he's benching 300 pounds and he's doing this. There's something to be said about natural heavyweight strength. He does not have natural heavyweight strength. He's got to move he's got to move weight. He's got to move a lot of things in the genetic code of his body to get to heavyweight. He is not a natural heavyweight. Ciryl Gane is a natural heavyweight. This is a guy who carries natural heavyweight power, natural heavyweight size. There's a big difference in the size, the natural size and power of these guys. Jon Jones is going to carry power up with him. Jon Jones is going to carry speed with him. He's going to carry his intelligence up with him. But if you guys think Jon Jones is going to be this big, powerful heavyweight and he carries that natural heavyweight strength, you're wrong. It just doesn't work like that. Like the genetic code does not work like that. But I got to say, he did this the right way. He did not come and say, I'm taking 6 months and I'm going to throw on 40 pounds and I'm going to be this heavyweight. He took 3 to 4 years to do this. Now, mind you, is the cameras telling you that he trained every day in his garage and he's benching this and he's doing that and squatting like this? The film we see, yes. But the fact of the matter is, you really don't know, because Jon Jones is a bullshitter. So now you're dealing with timing. You're dealing with 4 years of cage rust. You're dealing with, we have no idea if he's going to have the power to the same effectiveness in his striking with the power to knock somebody out like Gane. If he's going to have issues with the takedowns, if he could take a pure heavyweight punch, there's a big difference between sparring and being live in a cage. You don't know all these things. These are all variables that we don't know, right? Whether you love Jon Jones and you think he's the greatest or you hate him, the fact are these are a lot of unknowns. Ciryl Gane, we know. We know this guy has power. We know this guy's dynamic. We know this guy's going to move around the cage. We know what this guy's game plan has to be. This guy has to stay off his back. Now, people are saying, well, Lab, he got taken down by Francis Ngannou. He got controlled there. First of all, he lost that fight. Let's just throw that out there right now. Second of all, and I'll tell you how he lost the fight. He lost the fight because in that 5th round, when it was 2-2 going into the 5th, for some odd reason, he lands a takedown and he goes to lay back for a heel hook. And he missed it, and Francis got it. He doesn't go for that heel hook, and he stays on top of him. He wins that fight. And we're having a totally different conversation about Ciryl Gane, okay? Now, with Jon Jones, if the judges got his fights right, we're having a totally different conversation about him too. So there's a lot of totally different conversations that can be going on with both of these guys. There's also an element that Ciryl Gane was not expecting Francis Ngannou to go for any kind of takedowns in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't make an excuse. Doesn't mean he shouldn't have been ready for it. But the fact of the matter is, if you're really talking facts, that's the truth. And did he get controlled on the ground? Yeah, he did, but he worked his way back to his feet. Should he have won that fight? Absolutely. Did Francis really beat him in that fight? No, in my opinion, he gave that fight away. If you really look at it, he probably should have, beat Francis by a little bit of a wider margin in some of those rounds. Like, he was sitting back a little bit. I understand he was worried about his power. Then when he got taken down the first time, he started getting gun shy a little bit. But the fact of the matter is, he gave that fight away in the 5th round by laying back for the heel hook, and he likes the heel hooks. He does like to do that. Now, when you're looking at this fight, in its entirety, you got two guys who are kind of similar, right? You got Jon Jones, who likes to attack that knee with the kicks. You got Ciryl Gane, who likes to attack the legs as well. It's the bigger cage, so Ciryl Gane is going to want to really keep things moving and kind of work his jab and be a little confident and be fluid and kind of just You move about the cabin. I mean, that's basically what he wants to do. And by no stretch of the means does this guy want to get into a clinch with Jon Jones. Because once you get into a clinch with Jon Jones, this is a guy who will go for a takedown. He'll fake it. He'll come with an up elbow, a spinning elbow. He's very smart and crafty in the cage. And he's got these nasty inside trips. And he's a nasty guy. This guy is in there to hurt you. This guy isn't there to fight. So if you look at both of these guys in interviews, they got two different dimensions of a personality. You got Ciryl Gane, who's always laughing, always having a good time. Is he nasty in the cage? Yeah. I mean, look at him against DFS. He got knocked down. He came back. He won the fight. But the fact of the matter is when you got a guy who's willing to rip your eyes out in the cage to win, there's a little different dynamic there. He's a loose cannon, and that boils down to his personal life. It boils down to his life inside and outside the cage. Well, Ciryl Gane's really not that guy. You also got to look at Ciryl Gane, and you got to say to yourself, okay, well, hold on a second. Like, who has he really beaten? To really sit there and say that he's going to beat Jon Jones. I'm not a guy who will sit here, and I'm not a guy who's going to pick a guy on a 4-year layoff. You know, that's normally not who I am. But this is a situation where you're dealing with the business. You're dealing with a guy who truly is one of the greatest I've ever seen talent-wise, against a guy who's an amazing kickboxer, extremely athletic, extremely strong. But, I mean, dollar for dollar, how do you go against Jon Jones in this fight? You just can't. Like, you really, really can't. If anyone picks Ciryl Gane in this fight, the thing that scares me about this fight is the line. That scares me about this fight. This line is minus 155 for Jon Jones, plus 135 for Ciryl Gane. That seems a little trappy to me. That seems to me like people are going to be like, oh, my God, Jon Jones, he's so cheap, 155. You'll never see that again. That's what people are saying. But the fact of the matter is that line seems extremely trappy to me. Extremely trappy to me. And that's the only reason why I'm a little hesitant on it. When you look at the DraftKings line, too, it's the same thing. Jon Jones, 8,400. Ciryl Gane, 7,800. Like, there's a real distinct confidence that Jon Jones is either not going to be the same Jon Jones or Ciryl Gane really is that good. Because if Jon Jones comes out, who is the Jon Jones that we know he used to be, he destroys Ciryl Gane. But we don't know that. That's the whole thing. We don't know that, and that's what makes this a really intriguing fight to me. I'm going to pick Jon Jones here. But I will tell you, I'm probably going to be rooting for Ciryl Gane. Like, I don't like Jon Jones as a person. I don't think he's good for the sport. I think he's good for the money train of the sport. I just don't think he's a good role model. And when I watch his fights, like, I kind of, root against him, but I can't pick against him until I see otherwise. I mean, the guy is who he is. He's still young. The heavyweight division, you could be 40 and be a great heavyweight. Look at Glover Teixeira, and like I said, there's a reason why he's beaten all the guys he's beaten, and nobody can really solve his riddle. Even though to me he's lost a couple fights. So my pick is Jon Jones. I think there's hardcore value on him at 8,400 in a 5-round fight. There is value on him on the line as well. There's there's actually more value on him than there is Ciryl Gane on this line. There's something about it that seems very trappy. So if you're going to bet it, I would advise you to be careful with that. As far as Ciryl Gane, there's value there too. 7,800 5-round fight. You can't go wrong there. So I would definitely get a piece of this fight. You got to get a piece of this main event on the DraftKings perspective. So if you're running 10 lineups, I probably will have both of these guys in all 10. It's going to be a great card. We have some great cards coming up. Like I said, we have a promo, $19.99 for your first month, where we're going to be giving away a Conor McGregor glove. We're going to have a DraftKings tournament for people that are entered and all the members that you're going to play during this card. Whoever wins gets the glove. We have a great Discord, great community, and we're up on the year. So that's about all you can ask for. Once again, subscribe, click the bell notification, and we will see you next week with my partner. Bush will be back in studio. Take care.